Hello everyone, my name is Jamie. Nice to meet you, or if you have watched my videos before, nice to see you again. How are you? So today I'm going to share with you my April TBR, and this is kind of an interesting video because it's not that interesting, but it's interesting for me because I have not done a TBR video in such a long time. I kind of retired TBR videos quite a while ago because I don't really stick to them all that often. However, I love the act of putting together a TBR, like I genuinely really do. So if you like these sorts of videos, then I guess this one's for you. I'm going to be going through all of my April reading plans, and I hope you guys get some inspiration or some ideas, or here are some books that you might not have heard of before. I have 17 books on my TBR, which yes does feel very ambitious, but we're just going to go through them all. I have some that are ideas for video concepts, I have some that are for Patreon, I have a lot, and we're just going to get into it. First of all, let's start with my Patreon reads for April. So I have 3 books here that I need to read. The first one is our book club pick for April, and that is All's Well by Mona Awad. I'm so excited to read this one. I have been wanting to read this since it came out, and I don't know why I've been putting it off so much because this is literally like so Jamie coded. I don't know why I haven't read it yet, but basically this is a literary fiction like horror novel. We follow our main character who is a performing arts teacher or professor, and she wants to put on a production of All's Well, but her students kind of revolt and want to put on Macbeth, which honestly, fair enough. I would much rather do Macbeth than All's Well also, but I believe after that, like the events that take place are very similar to the events that are in Shakespeare's Macbeth. As a Shakespeare fan, I'm so excited to read this. I especially love Macbeth the play as well. I think it's one of Shakespeare's greatest works. So I'm so excited to see all of the themes from that in this book. And I'm so excited as well to have a group of people where we can all read this together and discuss our thoughts and theories and predictions. And I'm just so excited to be reading this one. My Patreon will also be getting a full-length reading vlog for this novel and a live show discussion as part of the book club package in my Patreon perks. Next are 2 books that are for my Patreon series read along, and one of them I was supposed to read last month, so it's a very high priority for me to get through this month, and then the next one is like the appropriate month's book. But they are The Goal by Elle Kennedy and The Legacy by Elle Kennedy. So this is number 4 in the off-campus series, and this is number 5. We are doing a series read along of the off-campus and Briar U series, so these will both be rereads for me. I really enjoyed reading The Legacy. The Goal is probably my least favorite in the series, so obviously maybe that's why I've put it off so much, but The Legacy I'm really excited to get to as well, because it's basically just like a collection of novellas where we get to revisit the characters from the previous series like later on in their lives. And then The Goal follows our 2 main characters, Sabrina and Tucker. The tropes in here aren't as fun, but still really fun college romances, and I really love reading these just to be able to see like the characters from the previous books as well. So really excited to read these with my patrons. So those are the 3 books that I'm going to be reading for Patreon. Now let's do a couple of sequels that I really want to read from series that I've already started. So first of all, I think in January or December I read the first book in the Plated Prisoners series, which is Guild, and so this month I really want to finally continue that and read the second book, which is Glint by Raven Kennedy. This whole fantasy series is a retelling of the myth of King Midas. So our main character is gold touched, like she is entirely like gold. She's literally gold, so she's very valuable, and she's the king's favored like concubine, I suppose. Is that the name for it? I don't know. Some stuff happened in the first book, and this obviously follows all the events from that. I really love this series. It's really fast, easy to read. It's been described as a fantasy romance, and there was like no semblance of romance in the first novel, so I'm really excited to see what happens in this one, and yeah, finally continue this. They're just really easy to read, good fantasy vibes. And after reading Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber, I'm so like in my fantasy mood right now. If I had The Ballad of Never After, I would be reading it this month, but I only just bought it and I don't think it will arrive in time, so which is why it's not in this TBR. And then next, I'm kind of apprehensive about this one, but I read the first book and I did enjoy it. I might read House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J Maas. The only thing is that it's so huge, and I have so many books that I do actually need and want to read this month. Yeah, this one is kind of a lower priority, but I do really want to continue the series, especially because the 3rd book has been announced, and that's coming out in January 2024. So I do want to like actually get through more of it. I don't know, I actually did really enjoy this series as as well. I thought it was definitely better than the other Sarah J Maas that I have read. I do want to eventually get to this. Like, I'll get to this year, hopefully April, but we'll see. Yeah, so those were the sequels. I'm just gonna go through everything else and not really tell you what they're all for because I don't want to spoil my future videos for you. So a lot of them are like rollovers from my March TBR. A lot of them I was supposed to read in March because I did a Patreon exclusive video where my patrons chose my March TBR for me, and I randomly selected some of their picks, which I was so excited about, and then I was in the biggest reading slump in March, so I didn't get to a lot of them, but I still want to read a whole bunch of them, so I've carried them over onto this month. So those Patreon selected books will definitely be like biggest priorities, but let's go through just everything. First of all, I would love to read Lapvona by Ottessa Moshfegh. I was so excited when this was picked for me because I really wanted to read this. This is like a literary fiction, historical fiction, horror vibes. I believe we follow our main character in like the medieval times. Because there's a sheep, I'm really hoping there is something to do with like the devil. I know it's not the sheep, I know it's the goat that is like symbol of the devil, but I don't know, it's giving like that element, like it's giving that vibe from the cover, but all I know is that it's fucking crazy. Like, people read it and they're like, what the hell did I just read? And I'm kind of in the mood for that vibe, so I'm really excited to read this one. Speaking of like devilish vibes, I would also really love to read Her Majesty's Royal Coven by Juno Dawson, because this is all about a coven of witches set in Scotland. So is this giving Macbeth vibes as well? I seriously hope so. I seriously hope so, because that would just be so fun if it was, and then I could like draw the parallels. I don't know. I bought this semi-recently. I think I bought it in like November, and I've been it just stood out to me in the bookshop. I was like, this looks so fun. So I'm really excited to read this one. I really hope it lives up to the cover because I love the cover so much. I would also really love to be reading Earthlings by Sayaka Murata. This is another one that was picked for me by my patrons, and this I believe is very heartbreaking. I actually wanted to read this and was going to read this in my most recent 24-hour readathon, and unfortunately I just didn't get around to it. But basically we follow our main character. She lives in Japan and she's really isolated from society. She believes that she's an alien, and she's very much alienated herself from the people around her, and I believe it's because maybe there's some trauma that she's been going through. I've just heard that it's a really heartbreaking book, so honestly love those vibes. I'm excited to give this a go. On a lighter note, let's actually show you the romances that I really want to read in April. First of all, we have Funny You Should Ask by Elisa Sussman. I've been wanting to read this for ages, and also my patrons picked it for me, so I might as well just get to it very soon. It is a romance about a super fan of this like actor or rock star, I don't know, this famous person. She's a journalist and she gets the opportunity to interview him, and they kind of have like an instant attraction, like fall in love from there. I really love romance novels about like famous people and non-famous people. Like, I love that trope. I know it's not super popular. I really love it. So I'm really excited to get to this one. It looks really fun. Oh, another sequel. It's not like a sequel for a fantasy book, but it's a sequel for a romance series, and I want to read it so badly. It is Things We Hide from the Light by Lucy Score. This is the sequel to Things We Never Got Over, and I loved that novel. Basically, they're like small town romances. I don't know anything about this one. I just know that it's about a certain character that was in Things We Never Got Over, and I didn't love that character a lot, so it'll be interesting to see what this one is like. But like, oh my god, I love the cover so much. I love these like subtle romance novel covers. They're so beautiful, and yeah, I'm just really excited to dive back into the setting of this romance series because that's honestly the best thing about it. They're so cozy and so fun. So yeah, I've also heard really good things about this one because it actually came out in like February, and I want to finally read it. And then I also want to read this book that I think will just provide me the summer vibes that New Zealand did not give to me during our literal summer season. Hello, it's me, editing Jamie from the future. Basically, my camera footage entirely like corrupted at this one specific moment, but basically I was saying that we didn't have New Zealand summer and we just had like flash floods and like emergency cyclone warnings instead. And the book that I have chosen is The Summer of Broken Rules, as you will see. This is absolutely, I think, summer vibes, like a summer romance. I also believe it's a little bit hard hitting because our main character like lost her sister. I think her sister died a little while ago and she's kind of still coming to terms with that and getting over her grief, but then she has this like summer romance and he saves her in a sense. I really don't know, but it just looks so good and will give me that like beachy feel that I've been missing for over a year now. I haven't been to the beach in such a long time and I miss it. Oh, I've just read that it is also set at a wedding. Hello. Okay, this looks really fun. I definitely want to read this sooner rather than later. Okay, so those are the romances I want to read. The next are all kind of random. Oh, I was mentioning like devil vibes before. I really want to read Sign Here by Claudia Lux. Another one that my patrons chose for me. Ever since I heard people talking about it, I have wanted to read it so badly because this is Jamie coded. This is written for me. I've said this before, like a little random fact about my reading taste. I love books that feature an author's version of the devil. I love satanic themes. And I also love the idea of like horror, but like religious horror. I don't know why. I'm not particularly a religious person, but there's something about theology and there's something specifically about Catholicism and the imagery behind it that I find so fascinating. And that's why I love books that feature like an idea of Satan. Things like Rosemary's Baby or The Master and Margarita. I just love them so much. Like, I don't know why. I love media that features the devil. So seeing this, I was like, wow, okay, yeah. I believe we follow a main character who works in hell and they're trying to get a certain member of a certain family to like sign their life over to the devil because like everyone else in the family has done that before and they're like the last member of the family who hasn't sold their soul to the devil. It looks so interesting and I'm so keen to read this. I've been wanting to read this for such a long time. So yeah, I'm glad that it's finally in my hands. Another book that I'm keen on reading is New Animal by Ella Baxter, another one that was picked for me. I believe this is set in Australia and it's very much like woman who doesn't know what she wants to do with her life vibes, which is some of my favorite sort of literary fiction that's out there. A lot of the quotes say that it's really funny and outrageous, so I love those vibes, and it's also really short. It's like just over 200 pages, so this will be a really fun one to get through, I think, when I can't think of anything else to read. It just looks really good. Another like woman in her early 20s figuring life out book, I'm really keen on reading Queenie by Candace Carty-Williams. I have been putting this on so many TBRs over the past couple of years and I have never really got around to it, but this is one that I finally want to read. Like, I'm gonna be making it a mission to actually get to this. I do not know why I've been putting it off because it looks so up my alley. I've read the first couple of pages a couple of times and they always look so fun and just so good, like definitely really easy reading, and I just really want to read it. I really want to read it and it looks great. I've been missing my horror vibes as well, which is why I've put things like Sign Here and Lamp Vona and All's Well on my TBR. I'm also putting on The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones, another book that I've been wanting to read for so long, and it's had this similar treatment to Queenie where like I've always put it on a TBR and then it always is the one that I don't end up getting to. I really want to read this. I read the first chapter like quite a while ago and I was like, this is very promising, but not right now. But for me, I feel like the time is right now. I believe there are some crazy themes in here. I think it's like nature fighting back vibes. I don't really know. I'm just pulling parts from the back. With horror, I try not to read too much into it because I don't want to spoil myself. Like horrors and thrillers, it's really hard to read the blurb because like I love going in blind. I try my best for you guys, but I don't want to read it like fully. I just want to like pull bits from it. But yeah, I'm really excited to read this one. Final two are books that my patrons chose for me. So first of all, I'd really love to read Love in the Big City by Sang-Young Park. This is a novel set in Seoul and I believe it's kind of like Catcher in the Rye vibes. It is a debut and I believe we just follow the lives of two young people living in Seoul, and that's literally it. Like that's all the back of the novel is giving me. I don't know where I got Catcher in the Rye from. I think maybe I thought that it was like all set in one day and they're like wandering Seoul, kind of how like in Catcher in the Rye he's wandering New York. But yeah, I really want to read this. It does look really fun. And then finally, speaking of fun, this is giving me like fun, trashy energy, and it is White Hot Kiss by Jennifer L. Armentrout, which is the first book in a like fantasy romance series called The Dark Elements, and I believe we follow our main character who is a gargoyle, but she wants to be a normal girly, and then there's like a love triangle situation with her mentor and then also this like half demon that she encounters. It seems so silly and so trashy and fun, so it's giving me like Vampire Academy in a sense. Like, I don't know why, because I think it's all set at a magical school as well. But yeah, I've read one Jennifer L. Armentrout before and I thought it was okay, so I'm excited to see what else the author can bring. I believe this was published in like 2007 or like something like that, so you know what, I'm kind of excited for those nostalgic vibes. So you can see them a little bit. Here are all the books that I want to read in April. I know that it's very, very ambitious, but I still think that I can do it. This is the first TBR video I've done in such a long time, so please let me know if you actually like these videos, because if you do, I will do them every month. Like, they're very easy videos to film, and so yeah, I can do them every month for you if you like. I can maybe put some spins on some, but yeah, if you like watching them, just please let me know so I know whether or not to continue making these or stop making them. Also, because I have some video like reading vlog concepts in mind when picking this TBR, I want to see if you guys can guess if there's any like theme that you see running through these books, maybe that you're like, I've tried to like talk about them very strategically in like different orders so to throw you off the scent, but if someone gets it, I'll be very impressed. Also, let me know down below what books you think I should prioritize if you see any favorites of yours on the list. But yeah, guys, again, thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate all of you and for you spending your time with me. A reminder that all my socials are linked down below along with my Patreon, so if you do want to join our book club or want any of the extra content from me, that's all linked down below. But yeah, again, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you all, and I will see you very soon in another video.